All right, I'm Michael Olshove. This is FloQast Behind the Balance Sheets, Close Encounters. This is Close Encounters Behind the Balance Sheets. Excited to introduce Clark Kent, who joined us in last quarter's episode.
And we are also joined by Miles Teller today.
Hi, everybody.
Who's Miles Teller?
What?
Never heard of him.
What?
Not kidding.
You ever seen Top Gun?
Top Gun.
Yeah.
Maverick?
Okay,
What?
I
Come
see
on.
that. Yeah, no,
Come on.
all right. Okay, fair enough. I didn't know his name. I don't know. It's not Tom Cruise. You guys both have backgrounds, and so Dan Carr was last quarter's guest. We talked about various tidbits of things internally, but maybe talk a little bit more about your background, how that's played, and if you want to pass it over to Billy, and we'll talk a little bit about how you guys come from similar but different backgrounds and start digging into what we're doing with AI and kind of what our position is in the market.
Yeah, I mean, my whole background's in internal audit. Like, I love internal controls. I like figuring out completeness and accuracy, and that's been a huge thing at FloQast here, as we are an accounting-centric company. We work with a lot of public and heavily regulated organizations. Like, where does the intersection of internal control and AI happen? And that's a really big part of our talking points and why we think we're probably the best in the market.
And you don't have an audit background. What was your background again?
Internal audit.
Internal audit specifically.
It's auditors you can actually talk to and be friends with, as opposed to external that nobody likes.
They're less of
It's the
that.
lesser of two evils.
Yeah.
It's like getting punched in the stomach versus the face, you know?
Yeah. Okay, that's fair.
I'm more of a gut punch kind of guy.
And you're more of the punch in the face guy.
Yeah, no, I'm going to hit you right in the teeth.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
Give me your background. What
Yep.
are you doing for FloQast?
Yeah, so I started as a auditor, external auditor for Ernst & Young.
Boo.
Yeah, doing financial statement
You're-
audits, which
you're
is
both
super
nerds.
fun. Financial derivatives, extremely exciting things to audit. As you can imagine, being the bad guy trying to track down all of my different supporting documentation, things like that. And then I moved over to 2 different internal accounting roles with some tech startups. Not focusing on the audit side there. I was doing more like process improvement, coming in and trying to help them automate with just Excel, not AI. So we were kind of firsthand experience in what you're limited in from just like the basic Excel functionality.
Gotcha. Okay. So some real life experience, and supporting clients that had pains, issues, things that they were doing on a regular basis, and finding ways to uncover or determine better ways to do them. Maybe isn't what you were focused on then, but a little bit more of kind of why you stepped into the role that you're in now. So like, what's that transition look like as you move from, somebody that's externally checking work that's being done by a client into actually developing, building, helping to solve for the issues that you were uncovering previously?
Yeah, I mean, especially coming from EY, it's a huge company, right? Everything is already set up. You kind of just step into it. They have processes in place already. So it's very, very different, very organized, very structured. You kind of have a playbook already.
Yep.
Going into, the internal side, industry side, startups particularly, there's nothing going on. They got no processes in place. They're kind of bringing me in to help start driving some of that and help scale the business, automate some of it, put it all together. So it's very, very different. A lot of it is more, I know what I'm doing or trying to do, right? I know how spreadsheets come together, what we're trying to get to, put it together from like an audit perspective, but who you have to talk to get things done was really, really difficult. So that made it a lot harder. You didn't know who to talk to, what was already available, like what tech stack do we have that I can take advantage of? So it was much harder to figure out where to begin rather than actually getting the work done. When I was an auditor, it was just, you got a lot of work to do. Just go get it done.
Yeah.
Did you have to learn how to like flex the creative muscle almost when like you were going into more of the startup world? Like, or were you allowed to take liberties with some of the stuff that EY provided you guys more out of the box?
You definitely had to get creative. So I, coming from EY, knew what structure looked like, what I had in mind, what I wanted it to do, or what I was trying to get to. But again, like what's already available, I'm not going to reinvent the wheel. I don't need to spend time doing this if we have that functions similarly, but I didn't even know that was available. So definitely trying to figure out the best way to get things done with the hand you've been dealt. So you definitely have to get more creative, but as you kind of learn more, I was able to take a little bit more liberties and push for certain stuff. And that's kind of how I found FloQast, because I was figuring out better ways to automate some of this. And it's like, wow, we don't have anything in place to track what we're doing. FloQast looks really cool.
Yeah.
We should get that. And I did not get buy-in for that, but
We
I liked
appreciate
it.
you.
Have we
We have not.
gone back after?
We have not.
Okay.
They were not ready to invest in their biz ops, especially for accounting.
We'll
at
come
that
back
point.
to that. So,
Yeah.
and I haven't given my background yet. I'm our director of enterprise sales. Um, lead a team of folks that are heavily focused on uncovering pain, solutioning for that pain, kind of changing the lives of accountants by bringing the best in class technology. So it's interesting. You know, I think we talk to a lot of different kind of people that will ultimately move into a role that is leveraging a background that they have, or sometimes even not, and moving into creating a solution, bringing that solution to bear. I'm curious how much of it, because you're not necessarily in a role that is focused on revenue generating, but you are so tied into the generation of revenue. How does that overlap look for you?
Yeah, it's definitely interesting. I for sure have a unique role. So I'm focused, I'm a solutions consultant here at FloQast now, focused solely on the Transform platform, which is like our AI agents builder platform,
Yeah.
essentially. So to your point, it is a very unique situation where I'm kind of in between generating revenue, but I'm also trying to come up with those creative solutions, right? Accounting is super regulated. There's a ton of rules, but there's no one right way to do anything or one requirement to do anything. So you meet with all these different people that have a totally different way of achieving the exact same revenue recognition, reconciliation. Totally different. So it's very fun to kind of meet with them and understand their unique way of going about it, the different tech stack that's involved, how they're trying to put it all together. So it's very interesting, kind of leveraging some of what I was doing with those startups. Just what's out there? What are you trying to do? And how do we come up with the best way to do it? But it is cool kind of working closely with you guys because you are selling it, but I'm coming up with something that's actually going to change your life, right? I'm not the bad guy. I'm not the
Why did you
person you
point
don't
at
want to
me?
talk to because you don't like us auditors. Former recovering auditors,
yes.
as we say.
Reformed.
Yes. So it's nice to be that fun experience for them. Like, I got this crazy problem. Can you help me solve this?
Immediate credibility. You know what they're talking about. You have the background. You've been there, and I kind of see that through the lens too of you've recently moved into the solution consulting role, which to me is you're a salesperson. You're an extension of sales. But you transitioned from your role prior. You were doing a lot of the building with
Yep.
our AI technology, right?
Yep. So started as an ATC accounting technology consultant on the Core platform a couple years ago.
Which means doing the implementations,
Yep.
and so that's something that's unique too. Like I came from a traditional tech company where the folks that were doing implementations were heavily customized. They were very IT focused. Solutions consultants were folks that had IT backgrounds and were in the weeds on the technical side of the solution. It's unique for me, and it's something that I've really enjoyed. Is when we bring the solution to bear, when we're actually delivering.
Right.
We're using somebody that sat in the seat. It's a
Mhm.
former accountant. It's somebody with an audit background that's actually doing the technical implementation work.
Yeah, it's definitely different. And I think that's one of the things our clients appreciate. Like, we can speak their language. We say it all the time. Flowcast is by accountants for accountants. And that might sound cheesy, but like, it matters, right? And if an IT person is building something for accountants, they're speaking two totally different languages.
Yeah.
You're
Yep.
not an accounting guy. You know how weird us accountants can be. We speak our own little unique language. IT folks are the same way. They're talking two totally different languages.
100%.
Yeah.
So them trying to come up with the best solution for accountants, it's not going to happen.
Yeah.
There's going to be a gap. Us actually having done it, knowing what they need is one of our differentiators, in my opinion.
Yeah,
But
totally agree.
starting from the core setup side, slowly moved over to the AI side where I was essentially the test subject, right? If I can use this platform and make it work for me, trying to build out whatever random use cases clients were giving me, then anybody else should be able to do
So
it,
easy,
right?
Dan
Yeah.
can do it.
Yeah,
Is what
exactly.
we actually say.
Yeah, marketing
Yeah.
has yet to adopt that one. Thank goodness.
I'm working on it.
We're
we'll
working
get
on
there.
it though. It's interesting with you, Billy, because I think where you have landed at FloQast is a really good intersection of the creativity that you were talking about before, of like you enjoy doing the solutioning part of like kind of learning things for people, but that's paired really well with your technical background of actually implementing the solution. It's interesting because where you wanted to start at FloQast is not necessarily where you did start at FloQast. Tell us a little bit more about that. This is a story I don't think Michael knows.
Yeah. So
This is fun.
actually, I applied a year before I actually started for
How long have you been here? Sorry.
So it will be 3 years in May.
Okay.
Yeah. Officially 3 years. So it would have before had I started as an ASM, which is the accounting success manager. So sort of the handoff after implementation, your continued success,
Yeah,
right?
customer support.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Not the sales side of it. That's separate. This is just, I'm here to help you. What do
Yep,
you need?
Yep.
So I applied for that and did not end up getting the role. I guess I wasn't a right fit for that. And weirdly, it kind of worked out because I don't think I'd be in this spot here today. Um, it's a very different position, although they kind of work hand in hand. The ASM role is much more of a supporter than a user, right?
Yeah.
Like I learned everything.
Nobody wants you
about
customer facing.
Right.
That's why they
Yeah, exactly. Right. Keep
Although,
them in the
I guess
back.
you are
Yeah.
now. Yeah,
Keep him in the back.
Yeah.
So it ended up working out. I was a little salty about it at first. I'm like, oh, dang it. And then I went over to another startup, and then applied again because I'm like, come on, guys.
Yeah.
ATC role opened up. I ended up fitting into that better. Honestly, now that I'm here at FloQast and got to see what the two sides were, I'm very happy I didn't get the original.
Totally agree.
Yeah, I don't think I would have been as good at that. And
Yeah.
I mean, maybe we still would have ended up in sales.
I don't even know that I'd say that. I don't know that you'd be as good at that. But I think you're really good at this.
Well, I appreciate that. Thank you very much. Yeah, I maybe it would have ended up being an AM position. but
Right.
I'm very happy that I was able to kind of attach myself to the AI story here at FloQast and see how it develops. And Transform was very specific. We were very isolated for a while. So it's cool to see that success seems to kind of push AI into the rest of our platform. I mean, it was what, 2 years ago that they announced Transform when it was like Moonshot or whatever.
Yeah,
Oh
yeah,
my
yeah.
gosh.
Yeah, it was super primitive, but I was like, oh, that's pretty
We're on to
cool,
something new
man.
here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we weren't even really talking about AI at that point at all. That
Well,
was
so and you know what's interesting, and actually this is something that I go back to that I think is more meaningful than maybe I realized at the time or as we've evolved. But we've had a form of AI in the platform since 2019. It was ML, right? But we had machine learning built into our transaction matching
Yeah.
solution.
I've heard this script on so many demos from you.
But it's not a script. It's
No,
like,
it's a very real story.
It's turned
Yeah.
into a bit of a script. Yeah, you're not wrong.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, shit, there's so many things that I could say that you've heard me say that you'll finish my sentence.
100%.
Yeah. And actually, I always had this concern that I'm like, oh, wait, did I say this to this person before? Or am I thinking of another call that I was on? Like, there's always that fear in the back of my mind.
Yeah.
I've done that
Sorry if
before
I'm
at the
repeating
beginning
myself.
of calls. I'm like, hey, I make the same jokes a lot. If some of you are hearing this again, I'm
I'm
so sorry.
apologizing in advance.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, so but it's interesting to me because so 2019 we have ML on the platform, and the concept of how to use a form of AI is not foreign to us. So as the advent of agentic AI comes about and the world changes, like what feels like basically overnight, we're not necessarily scrambling and trying to figure out what to do. We already have a little bit of a strategy and how we have worked similar kinds of technology into the platform.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I think what we've realized and what you see a lot of companies do, kind of the low-hanging fruit, and like when we think about AI, right? You have AI that you utilize for analysis of data and things that you may already be doing versus AI that's actually transformative and is beginning to do work for you.
Right.
And you can benefit in different ways from both. And I want to
Mhm.
ask you guys a little bit about what your thoughts are around this. But like, from my perspective, the vast majority of applications, competitive solutions, or other solutions in the space in general are immediately going for the low-hanging fruit and going, how can we layer, a model on top of what we're already doing and have it analyze what we've done. We've done some of that too. It's a way to find quick value, but I think going a step further, you don't see as many that have actually built a solution that is going to do the work for you, riskier.
Mhm.
And so maybe from an internal audit and an external audit perspective, I'm curious what your thoughts are and how you get into approaching AI through the lens of doing the work.
Yeah, it's really interesting. So I was talking to kind of a larger group at a conference earlier this year around kind of the difference between like more of the
Humble brag.
I'm really important.
My apartment smells of rich mahogany. Many other books.
Like it's interesting because it's almost more of a compelling sales pitch to show the, hey, it's a chatbot, it's quick, it's analytical, it does these things, because you're going to get your ROI almost immediately on it, and then it's going to cap out. It stops, it's done after a certain extent. Whereas when we go more of the, hey, it's going to actually do the work for you, it's going to take a little bit longer to get to that actual return on your investment there. But the ceiling of it is so much higher than what you're going to get from any kind of other thing out there. It's super interesting to kind of think about. And so,
but the risk is also so much higher, right? Like how, I mean, at the end of the day, somebody's doing work with something. As an external auditor, what do you have to do? You have to validate that it's been done the same way, accurately. You have to be able to trust the technology that's being utilized.
Prove it.
How do you prove it?
Exactly. Well, that's the interesting thing is I've seen like solutions out there like, oh, it's auditable AI. I'm like, oh, how is it auditable? Like, oh, it will describe to you how it did the work. That's still not proving it.
Yeah.
Like I need to see like, okay, so you did this calculation using what
and
inputs.
It will do it the same way every single time.
Yeah. Exactly. Like I need to see the proof behind the pudding. Like open up the machine, show me the inner machinations in there and how everything's interacting. Otherwise, there is no way for me to prove the completeness and accuracy reigns king in anything audit related at all. Like, how do I prove that out? IPE became this huge thing like 8 years ago, where we had to prove the completeness and accuracy of the data that we had and the inputs that went into that data. Like little old me was scrolling through SQL statements and Python code, trying to figure out how people were pulling data that was used to calculate critical financial metrics. And if you're throwing AI on that, you can't prove it anymore.
So how do you do it?
You use AI to develop the code or the inner machinations of a process that you can then review that is going to be consistent. Like obviously that is incredibly convenient because that's exactly how we do AI here. Yeah. But there's a reason for that. It's because we have 2.5 accountants in the room here.
I'll take it.
That understand what's going to be happening. Like it's one thing to be able to do the work. It's what happens after that, then after that, because there's a lot of instances in which if we can't necessarily prove out, hey, here's how the data got to the point it is right now, we then have to do a ton of measures after that to essentially reperform the work, which is completely eliminating the value.
You're not actually automating it. And one important piece of this too is things change. What happens if something breaks? If I don't actually understand what it's doing, how the hell do I figure out what went wrong and what I need to fix? How do you manage it? If it's just like, no, trust me, this is correct. I'm AI. I did this right. That's not going to work. You have to understand exactly what's going on at every step. And to your point, it's hard. What we're trying to do is actually kind of crazy.
Yeah.
Like just think of the difference between Google Sheet and Excel and how they function.
Oh, don't even.
It's a nightmare. This is the half in you that you won't.
I'm terrible at Excel, so I love Google Sheets.
Yeah, no,
and that should be the full selling point for Excel right there.
Yeah, exactly. Like collaboration, great. Hotkeys, way cooler.
Yeah.
I need my hotkeys in Excel.
Yes.
And when you're what we're actually trying to do with this platform is kind of crazy. The reason there aren't a lot of other people doing it, because it's really hard. What we're trying to do is not easy. The platform we're building is not easy.
Let me simplify it there, because I can put it in half accountant terms.
Please.
So when you think about what it takes to automate a process traditionally, right? I'm an accountant that has to do this work, and I need to do the work the same way over and over and over. For me to solution that with technology, to add automation, we have to pull in somebody with a technical background that's utilizing some kind of builder or some kind of platform inside of which they're going to write a whole bunch of code to perform step by step the tasks that need to happen. So for an accountant to automate a process, they have to rely upon somebody from IT or an SI partner of some kind. And that's just to build the initial solution. To your point, what happens when something changes, when the data changes, when the inputs change, when the process, a step is added to it, an acquisition is made.
Yep.
You have to go back to that technical resource, and they have to come in and you have to explain to them how it's changed, and they then have to put that into code and create the automation. And so like it's funny, as AI first came about, there's all this fear and concern of like, it's going to take my job.
Terminator. Yeah.
Right. Exactly.
We all saw
Skynet's going to take the world over.
Yep.
And that's not what it is. Right. So it's so much of what accountants do is not accounting. Like it's step one, go gather this data, get the data into a central place, manipulate the data so that we can understand it, and then start to perform analysis. You have all these steps leading up that take a lot of time to lead up to. And so what we're doing, maybe explain how we're able to add automation to and take IT out of the equation while allowing the accountant to become the analysis and not the creation.
I always say it's the how people are automating that's changing and the who that's able to do it now.
Yep.
Bingo.
The end result is the exact same. We're just making it way better.
With a little more control. Because to your point, right? if something were to break, you kind of miss the worst part of it. I have to go submit an IT ticket.
Yep.
And the accountants are the low man on the totem pole. You are not getting help. You guys, the sales folks, are the ones that get all the help. BizOps is all over them.
Yep.
Yeah.
The accountant is the low man. That can take months.
Yep.
I'm working with a team now. They haven't had their process automation updated in 12 years.
Yep.
And they're still using it, and they make all these crazy tweaks after because they can't get in the queue to get updates.
Well, yeah, my Salesforce dashboard needs updating.
Screw your automation. So to your point, we're removing IT from the equation by building a platform that any accountant, Dan, myself, can step into. I do not know how to write code. I don't know how to read code, but that's one of the things that AI is insanely good at. And that part can be a black box. I don't really care how it wrote the code as long as it executes what I need it to do.
And you use that same code over and over and over
Again
and
and again and
Yep.
again.
Yep.
So the tool is pretty much set up so that you will go in and interact with an LLM in a chatbot interface similar to any like Gemini, ChatGPT that you're used to using. You're going to talk to it and step by step explain what you're trying to do. So take this input, pivot it, subtotals, create a journal entry, post the journal entry. Super high level, more steps in between that, but I am simply going to explain what I want it to do at each step to AI. It's going to show me a preview of what it's going to do based on my instructions so I can see it in real time. Yep, nailed it. You did exactly what I want.
Yep.
If it doesn't, you keep chatting with it, just like you're training an intern,
Yep.
essentially. And then once you get it to do it what you want, it goes to work in the background and writes that super complex code, stores it in our audit logs, make sure it uses that same code again and again. We track any changes to it. So you can go in if something changes, something breaks. Dan and I, we know the process. I know what went wrong. I hop back in, make my edits, and I'm good to go. And the reason that's so important is if I'm not just an analytical assistant, we're actually doing the work during close. That's a crazy time period for an accountant.
Yeah.
There can't be delays. They can't be, hey, IT, can you help me next week? Like, I need this done now.
Yeah.
I have an update. Something changed. We got to do this right now in real time.
Yep.
And if I can give an accountant the keys to do that, they're going to speed up everything they do.
Right.
They're not spending 4 days just putting spreadsheets together. They do that in 1 day, and then the next 3 days, they're analyzing all of that and spending more time looking into variances and helping stakeholders understand what's actually going on in the business, not just putting a spreadsheet.
And our entire goal is to take those 3 days, and on day one, the stuff's already been put together and
Right.
you're analyzing.
Yeah, you just show up as a reviewer and figure out if everything's good, sign off, and now I'm doing
Yep.
things that have way more downstream and upstream effects than just kind of putting financials.
Well, that's where,
That's
like,
important,
The
but-
creativity of accountants come into play of what do we then do with this data? How do we do all of this kind of stuff to actually provide value to the business? If the AI is the one that is being creative with things, that's how you end up in a congressional hearing for
Yeah.
defrauding the public.
Right.
Like, so that's a really key differentiator within using Gemini to build me journal entries based on data I give it versus, hey, write me some code, FloQast, to then automate my process.
Right. Yeah. And it's flexible code. You can make it as dynamic as you need it to be. Like, it's pretty crazy what you think a simple step is in natural language, the code that it
Yeah,
writes
yeah,
to
yeah.
ensure that it does exactly what you want. And all that validation is happening on the back. As long as the preview looks good to you, our tool will make sure it repeats that.
Well,
process
that's
for you.
my favorite part of like the process to bring this kind of automation to is, you know, when a client, a prospect, whomever kind of like have that light bulb moment and it clicks and they
Mhm.
understand. And then it's like in their head, they're going, what's the most painful thing that I do? Like, what am I spending a bunch of time doing that just makes me angry? And I have to do it every single month or every single quarter.
Yep.
And like everybody always has, you sit down in a room with 20 people, you're going to have 17 to 25 different ideas of, well, can we do this? Well, let's mess around and try.
At all
and-
different levels too. It's not just like the top decision makers. It's not just your staff accountants. It's everything in between.
Yep.
Everybody has something that they are just wasting time manipulating data
Yep.
to get to the actual end goal where they can do something with that.
Mhm.
Someone at every level can use this platform for something.
Well,
Yeah.
sometimes I just start off like these conversations like, what's your least favorite part of your job?
Yeah.
Besides waking up every
Yeah.
morning.
Like-
Besides logging in.
Yeah, exactly.
Headed to the airport.
Oh,
Oh no.
I don't think we have a lot of room to complain.
No, we got it. We got it pretty good here, I'd say.
Yeah. So have you used how have you used AI in your day to day to change it? Because we talked about this. In fact, I think we talked about it last quarter. But I'm like shoe shine boy has the dirtiest shoes kind of a situation. I'm not great about leveraging AI to make my own life better, and I have to be intentional with reaching out to people around me, folks on the team, peers. Like, what are you doing? How are you using it? So that I can unlock some of those ideas. What have you done, and like how do you benefit from AI on a day to day?
Great question. When I first was brought in, I was kind of like you. I'm like, well, I don't need AI. I'm pretty good at this. Besides, like your just general use of it, like it cleans up an email, makes me sound really smart. In my actual
Jokes
job,
on them.
yeah, right. But the use that the way I found it to be the most useful for me and what I do on a day-to-day basis is I'm in a lot of calls, back to back, pretty repetitive with different flavors of the
Note
same
summary.
questions. I ask it to actually go through and summarize different things. So use cases, we talk about step by step, like break out, almost put like a process document together of what they just walked me through. Cause I'm trying to pay attention as they explain the process. So it's hard to write down step by step what they're doing while understanding and like asking questions. So just having it like sit there and build out a process document for me has been really helpful.
But but then what happens because there's nothing worse than somebody it's like, hey, sorry, company policy, we need to turn the recorder off. And I'm like, no,
Yeah.
you're gonna
no,
make me
that-
have to actually work.
that
I have to remember.
But my
things.
AI.
Yeah.
That one, we've run into that problem a few times. Those
Yeah.
I don't have the transcripts for those ones, unfortunately. So that is a gap
Yeah.
in my usage.
Yeah.
And then I'm currently using it to kind of scrub all of my calls to come up with like the technical FAQ for everybody, because that's kind of one of the things that I gatekeep a little bit and have been for now. It's just a lot for you guys to learn all like the answers. So been using it to scrub calls again, just like go through Gong and find me every time transforms come up and what questions were asked. I just want to know what we're asked. How did we respond? That's helpful. How would you respond? And I use it to kind of what questions aren't being asked. What hasn't come up in calls that people should be asking?
Ooh,
wow.
That one I have found to be very, very interesting. And weirdly, I chatted with Mike Whitmire not that long ago, and that was how he ended our podcast. He just goes, so what haven't I asked you yet? And I was actually ready because I've been putting this together. I'm like, nice. Glad you asked. I got my list.
Wow.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah.
That's
So-
pretty good.
I'm using it more as like a assistant,
Yeah,
if
yeah.
you will. Just because I don't really do things that are recurrent. Everybody's different. So I don't have like a playbook that I can use our platform to help me with.
Yeah.
But you know, it's pretty useful the way I found so far.
What's your favorite customer facing use case that we built?
Ooh, that's a good one. Customer facing use case. So okay, I'm really proud of one of them because I built the example for it, like doing user access reviews, because that goes back to my background. I built an example, customer really liked what they saw. They're going to be then implementing it, so I was pretty jazzed about that one. I mean the most unique one is the chicken inventory.
I don't know about this one.
It's like an inventory count based on chicken data for like a farm.
Yeah. It apparently, so it's
real.
Remy O'Connor in Australia has this, and we were like,
Australia has chickens?
They have
Apparently it's a big
They just have
use
so many
case.
things that would kill chickens.
Yeah,
is
exactly.
why I'm surprised.
Dingoes and
really big use
Komodo
case for
dragons.
this. We thought she was joking, and she goes, "No, there's like 5 different customers that have asked me if we have a chicken valuation." Yeah, it's a chicken inventory valuation agent.
Are we talking like live chickens?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, because you have to.
I don't know. Like if you're a chicken harvester, maybe you want to know what inventory you have. It's called harvesting an animal, right? I think. I don't know. I'm getting in trouble on this.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know. Sorry.
Yeah.
Anyways, okay, that's an awesome one. So my
harvest some
my
KFC.
favorite so far is with a large beverage manufacturer, and it's only my favorite because it's a really solid Seinfeld reference.
Okay.
Did you ever see the episode where I think it's Kramer?
It's Kramer.
It's
Sounds
Kramer.
about
Yeah,
right.
Kramer decides that he's going to drive from New York, where the bottle deposit is 5 cents when you turn a bottle in, to Michigan to turn them in for 10 cents. And he can make money doing this,
Brilliant.
not thinking about the cost of driving there and back, et
Of
cetera.
course. Yeah.
So when they brought to us their bottle deposit process, that was one where I immediately went, Seinfeld, love it. I want to dig into this. And I like the ones that are like very unique use cases, because when I think about automation, like things that are broadly done by lots of people, there may be point solutions that are out there. You may be able to repurpose a thing but you come up with something so niche and so specific that there is no support for it. It likely means that it's something that's critical that you have to do.
Yep.
So that was a neat one that was
probably
like, how do we solve
pain in
this,
the
right?
ass.
It's
too.
probably a pain
It's
in the ass.
Definitely a pain in the ass.
Yes.
Yeah. It has to be done. I think it's reported on quarterly, but it has to be done monthly across like 8 different states that all require bottle deposits. And I still I remember the first time as a kid, my dad's family's from Detroit, migrated through Canada into northern Michigan, big Polish family. So we spent a lot of time going up to Michigan. And when I found out that you can make money taking bottles to the grocery store, that was the coolest thing. And my dad, who has the hat of a full accountant on, like you guys, is like, you're not making money. You're getting a couple of pennies back on something you already paid money for. I'm like, well, I didn't purchase it. Joke's on you.
And you're not getting any of the return money.
Free money.
That's one of my, I think, more favorite ones. I like the unique ones. And it's interesting too. I think when all of a sudden you see a customer that realizes, oh, it can solve for this really weird side thing we've never been able to solve for. What else can this do?
Right.
That to me is when you kind of see that happen, it's neat.
Well, the best part of the bottle deposit one was that you included a slide in our presentation back to the prospect that was Kramer.
No, that wasn't me. That was Duffy.
Oh,
That was Duffy. It was Chris.
Encouraged by you.
Encouraged by Whitmire. Actually.
Nice.
Oh, that's
Let's go.
right.
Yes. So that was my favorite
Top-down
part of that was,
support.
and I don't know how well Chris knew Mike at this point, and he's talking. He's like, "Do you think I should?" I'm like, "Ask him. Ask Mike." And Mike's like, "Absolutely.
This is the best thing I've ever seen.
Yes, you need to do it." And it landed.
Landed really well.
Yeah.
Nice.
That's a good one.
Seinfeld has real life applications.
Yep. Speaking of which, so does
Soda.
Soda. It's a good one. So does Friends.
Okay.
We had a comparison talking to Cam the other day in a pricing proposal of, effectively like when BMW throws in their hat. And I'm like, it's nothing worse than like wearing the hat that matches the car. And then went down the path. You remember the episode where Joey is wearing like the Porsche jacket and the Porsche hat. And he's the boxes stacked up in the car cover out front of the coffee shop. It's a great one. Which then also, like, none of them worked, and they lived in like the West Village.
Yeah,
and they just sat in coffee. Where did they?
Chandler worked.
Sick apartments.
Rachel worked for Ralph Lauren for like a day or two.
Yeah.
By the way, throw it out there.
Chandler, he was there was a whole trivia episode of what does Chandler do for work, and they said like transponster or something like that. I just remember he had a computer for an episode, and that was like the big deal because he had a portable computer.
I don't remember this.
Yeah, and like Joey was freaking out about it. The screen was like it was like a postcard sized screen.
It's amazing.
Oh, it's yeah, it's so good. I mean, it's like
My
the first
phone's
ever
bigger.
Excel commercial too. Have you seen that?
No, but have you seen the music video where Kelly Rowland is mad
Yes.
because
Yes.
Kelly's not
Yes.
texting
And she's
her back in
in
Excel?
Excel. Yes.
I have seen that one.
Oh, you got to see the first ever Excel commercial. It's this
Okay.
guy like, we got to prepare the forecast. The meeting's in 10 minutes, and they're on. One guy has to hold the laptop for the other guy, and he's like, "Oh, I'll just use Excel." And he makes the most basic table you've ever seen
Little
in
do
your
they
life.
know it's like the most transformative
Yeah,
technology
of all
that's
time.
ever existed.
And everyone in the elevator is like, "Whoa, did he just make a spreadsheet right now?"
So hang on, let's back up and talk about that a little bit. I still would argue that Excel, even over AI, we're using AI to create Excel outputs that are
Right.
meaningful.
Right.
Excel still is the king of all technology.
Excel is
all
my
time.
second favorite software of all time.
Yeah, you.
FloQast.
Okay.
Oh, nice. Okay.
Good.
Well
Yeah.
done.
Good
Microsoft
plug.
Paint's number 3.
Well done. Okay.
Okay.
All right.
Fair.
Microsoft
I-
Paint is good.
I
Like
respect
that was
that
to
order.
me, it was the catch-all for if you had to do anything. It went to you had to print a photo,
Yeah.
paste it in Paint, crop it.
Yeah.
You want
Or
to draw
just
cool
bored.
pictures?
Yeah, you're just bored. And
Yeah, you want to make emojis of your coworkers? Screenshot it, put it in Paint, save it as a JPEG.
I have a MacBook now, and I don't know what. Like everybody says, it's so good for people that are artistic and draw things or whatever. I can't just open Paint anymore, and I don't know how to do it in there.
Exactly.
I got to figure it out. But
yeah,
I'm with
Business
you.
is done on a ThinkPad.
Macs are for really, really intelligent IT people. I'm struggling with mine pretty badly. It runs really well. really well.
My
It is-
favorite,
does a lot
I
on
will say my
Auditable.
favorite part of it, if you do all fingers on the trackpad
Yeah.
and push up and it
Yep.
zooms out to all the screen, you could have like multiple screens on one screen.
Yeah,
I
it's
like
pretty
that.
cool.
I do like
It's
that.
there's a lot you can do, and I feel like we're just scraping the surface.
Oh, you're right.
Like watching the engineering folks, I'm like, what was that? What the hell did you just do?
So I came here without my mouse on accident, and I've just been
Oh.
trying to use the trackpad, and I keep accidentally opening up the dictionary somehow when I'm trying to drag something. I don't know why it's driving me nuts. I'm trying to screen share with
Oh.
Robbie earlier, and it's literally just keep opening the dictionary. He's like, "Are you okay?" I don't think so. I don't know what's happening.
I don't know what some words mean. Okay.
That's exactly it. No AI.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, but Excel, I mean, I don't know how you're going to get people away from it.
You can't.
At least now, like, I can't think without Excel. Like, I'm getting married in April. My fiance is so sick of the spreadsheets.
Congrats.
She's so over it. Thank you. She's so sick of it, but I have to see it that way. And while our tool doesn't need that, like, it does everything without the Excel
Yeah.
side of it. It's actually processing, creating everything. But the important piece is that it creates an Excel output for you to review.
Yep.
We are accountants. We love our spreadsheets. It just makes it
It's
easier.
And it can do so much now.
Right. And the fact that we're able to use AI to manipulate something in a web browser that then produces an Excel spreadsheet is insane.
Yeah.
To me, anyway. Like I think that's crazy. Everything else I've seen and people I've talked to that are using AI differently, not for what we're trying to do, but they're just like, how did you get it to do the Excel side?
Yeah.
I don't know. Ask the engineers, but
Right.
they're crushing it. It
Yeah.
shows you exactly what you want, formulas, all of it. It's right there. It makes it
It's
easier. You're not relearning how to do your job. You're just like changing how it gets done.
It's the
Yeah.
how.
Yeah. You're still reviewing it the exact same way you would have before, but I get you to the review in a couple seconds as opposed to a couple days.
There's no point in us trying to recreate what it does already because it is so powerful. Like, why would we not leverage that sort of technology? Because it's easy to digest, people
Yeah.
accept it, and it's got a lot of capabilities.
Right. And accountants are very stubborn people. I think
No, we're not.
was it Sally? Same as last year. You just always do the exact same thing that you've always done. So I am making a pretty big change already. If I take you out of the spreadsheets, I think people are going to be rioting. They're going to be
Yes.
rioting in the streets if we take Excel from them.
Yeah, no, you're right. You're 100% right. It's one of those that even if you found a way to replace it that worked well, I just don't know that you would.
Yeah, I don't. You're not going to get that much buy-in that fast.
Yeah.
It's going to be, let's just stick with the AI for now. Pair it with what they already
The
know.
only way that
and then
happens
we'll-
is if the humans actually go away. If it is Skynet.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
that's
Skynet
the
can use
only way.
whatever spreadsheet it wants.
I know. That's
It
exactly.
won't be using Google Sheets though.
So okay.
It knows better.
Back up. Google Sheets really is awesome. For what it's meant to be. It's not meant to be Excel.
I think if we taught you how to use Excel the right way with your hotkeys, you would be like, screw.
No. Okay,
Google
all
Sheets
right.
is fine if you're organizing a bake sale, but that's about as far as it's gonna go.
Yeah, like
Michael's gonna bring the cookies. Billy's
Dude.
gonna bring the brownies.
I love cookies.
Have you
Me
ever had
too.
to filter in that? Because it is a freaking nightmare.
So I
filtering in
only
Google
learned how to
Sheets?
filter in Excel or Google Sheets like in the last year.
Alt HSF filters. And
Control Shift L.
there you go. That works too.
Oh, see, I don't know any of that.
Yeah. Alt
I
is a
right
crazy
click
little
and
button.
choose things out of the drop down
Oh,
menu.
you're clicking?
And then you open the
Ew.
dictionary once or twice.
Oops.
What does filter mean?
Yeah.
No.
So it's funny. So my wife is like Excel level master could compete in competitions kind of a thing. And I'll sit there and watch her. She's in FP&A. She's doing
Yeah.
modeling stuff. Like, yes, just
Yeah.
whip
Wicked
stuff
smart.
up. And I'm still in like equals some 1, 2, 3 plus this one. And then like I come up with a basic formula.
Then
Like,
it
oh,
refs
look at it.
out.
This
No.
is great. Yeah. It's so good. It's one of those that I'm happy that I didn't have to rely upon it, but it's also one of those things where like people with accounting and finance backgrounds have strong Excel skills.
Right.
I've met marketers that can use PowerPoint in a manner in which I've never seen a
Oh,
human.
yeah.
This is amazing.
Yeah. PowerPoint's kind of
It's
In
way more visually
sales,
cool.
I can talk.
Really well.
I don't really like there's no technology that I'm like really, really good at. And it's one of those that I'm like I wish there was one of those things that I had adopted along the way that people were like, man, you're really good at that. And I'm like, oh.
You could be Microsoft Paint.
I can do Microsoft.
Put that on your resume.
He's got the dictionary. Got the dictionary nailed.
Oh,
That's his
Microsoft,
thing.
there's somebody
Yeah,
that's going to
dictionary
be way
apps on
better at me
lock.
than it, though. Yeah, I can't accidentally open the dictionary.
Yeah,
in
you
the
got it,
MacBook.
Oh, I'm on it. What was that word?
Mildly
Got it.
proficient in Mac usage.
Oh, that's awesome. Okay, so speaking of which, you think about, and we talk a lot about, I think at FloQast, the transition, because as a company, we're 1,000-ish employees, and like half of our employee count are former accountants. So we talk a lot about accountants that have left audit, that have left accounting industry, and moved into, a non-accounting role, utilizing their professional background, their educational background. We don't talk as much about what it's like to move into sales from a non-sales role, and that to me is something that is adds a little bit of an additional complexity from a customer-facing perspective. The way you address conversations, like how do you view that transition? Because it's interesting. I think you came in a non-sales capacity and have now transitioned into a sales capacity.
Yes. Yeah. I always kind of knew I wanted to do sales. My mom was a headhunter, actually, a recruiter for accountants. So she pushed me to do accounting.
I was afraid you meant she like murdered people.
Yeah, well, that would have been cooler. Cooler job.
She's an assassin.
I wouldn't be here.
I had to sell to the police that she was a really normal person, and it worked really well.
You wouldn't know me. I would have taken on that job. Way cooler.
Had a different identity.
Assassin.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Real cool. So I always knew like sales was kind of what I wanted to do. See them, make good money. So I'm like, all right, cool. That could be fun. So I wanted to do sales anyway, but you kind of have to start over. So that was a little scary being an accountant. You're like, I don't want to go back to like a $50K salary and make a sale. Like when you make sales, it's fine, but the base isn't there.
Yeah.
So I didn't want to take a hit from what I was making. So FloQast was an easy kind of in between, figure out what I'm going to do, what I want to do. It slowly, to your point, was non-sales, slowly transitioned into sales. For me, I think having like the product knowledge made it way easier to go into the selling side. And then coming from external audit, you're used to having like tougher conversations sometimes. Sometimes they're very easy conversations, but especially for my product, they're going to hit you with some hard-hitting questions and kind of push back because it's really new. They're trying to make sure that this is the right initiative for them, right product for them. So at least having that, knowing the product, knowing how it works, being in some of those tougher conversations from the audit background, it was a easier transition.
Well, and I mean, you're talking to your people about things that you understand and pains that you understand and stuff you've been through. Right.
It made it easier to kind of have that expertise, if you will. And thank you for helping me as we did that. You guys always brought me in like, we're going to bring Billy in. He's the expert on this platform. He knows it better than everybody else. So kind of like, all right, puff your chest up.
I know what I'm doing.
I know what's going on. Let's talk.
Well, that's interesting. Okay, so I want to get your thoughts on this, Billy, because when I was transitioning from internal audit to I was a sales engineer, like that's what we used to be called.
Right.
It was almost like, I don't know if it's like an ego thing or what, where I'm like, hey, I'm in a role where I'm supposed to be like technical and very smart, and like I'm supposed to be a subject matter expert on IPE and internal controls and accounting and stuff. And now I'm a professional talker. Like Michael would say, that's your software skill is talk. Did you have kind of the same kind of mental hurdle that you had to get over to be like, man, is this really like who I am, or is like, what was that like for you?
Yeah, you have a little bit of an imposter syndrome, right? Like I'm just like some random accountant that worked at FloQast and now I'm doing all this AI stuff. So like there is a little bit of am I the right person? Like, do they think I'm just blowing smoke? Are they actually buying what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So there is a little bit of that going on, but it's more of like a comfort thing. Once you realize like, okay, I do know what I'm talking about. I was an accountant. I see the value in this. I'm not just blowing smoke. Yeah. It makes it a lot easier too.
Yeah.
But it like at first it's kind of scary. You're like, why do they want to hear from me? What the hell do I know? Why do they want to know what I got to say?
I think there's a broad misunderstanding for what sales actually is from my perspective.
Yeah.
So I'm recruiting a friend into the company right now who she's a very different background, was a collegiate athlete, is a athletic trainer for a large university, and just kind of burnt out. Dad was in sales, still is in sales, has been his entire career. So he's done well for himself and like kind of pushed her that direction, and seems like she's kind of ready to make the jump. And so what I described to her when we're first talking about it is like the entry to sales is what you think sales is.
Yes.
Right.
It is painful. It's hard. And I'm saying, look, like you're either cut out for it or you're not. The first year and a half, it sucks. Yeah. Like you're cold calling. People hate you. Are you near the top of a tall building? Can you jump off? Like
Right.
you get some wild things that people will say. You get a lot of no.
Yeah.
And if you can power through that, if you can push through it, if you can realize that ultimately what you're doing is when you do make those strong connections, you are bringing something that is valuable to the people that you're calling.
Right.
If you can succeed through that hard part, right? The cold calling and everybody hates you aspect, you get into what selling actually is, right? And so when those folks that are on our team that are hustling and establishing and making the connections and setting those initial calls up, we get in, and what you're doing, you're not the person that's trying to sell the ketchup popsicle to the lady wearing white gloves. Like it's not what this is. You're asking questions, you're learning about things that they're trying to fix, and is what we offer something that can bring solution, and like your problem solving is what you're doing. And then ultimately you're helping them, learn how to navigate making a purchase through their corporate buying environment. That's what selling is.
Well, it's funny. I have a very vivid memory from when I was in college, and it was like my junior year, and we're at like our career fair, our career expo at school. And it was like all just for the business school guys. And I was very set. I'm like, I want to do consulting. Like I want to advise on business stuff.
Right.
Like I want to be doing that kind of like analytical thinking capacity. So I was talking to a few different consulting firms and things like that. I ended up going with Protiviti. But then some guy comes up to me and he's like, hey man, like what you looking for? I'm like, oh, I'm looking for like a consulting role. He's like, well, sales is kind of like consulting. And I immediately blew him off. I'm like, no, I'm going to be doing accounting. And then here I am, 10 years later, I'm like, oh my gosh,
he was right.
He was right.
Yeah, no, look, it's a tough barrier of entry. And it's kind of one of those things. I think of the BDR role very much as like boot camp into the military.
Yep.
Yeah.
You're going to figure out whether you're made of the things that will enable you to succeed or not. Because for me, I mean, the hardest part of selling is always like, there's ups and downs. It's a roller coaster.
Yep.
You finish a strong year, you're on a high. You have a bad quarter, you're in this low. What have you done for me lately? There's always kind of that feeling of, and there's risk. Like you have a number that you have to chase. You have a thing that you have to accomplish. Am I going to fold when things get hard, or am I going to press harder?
Yep.
And so it is funny because I think that a lot of people that ultimately step into a sales role that have an accounting background, a finance background, an audit background, don't necessarily fully realize what it is.
Yep.
Now, you guys, your barrier of entry was dealing with your first couple of years of audit.
Yes.
And luckily you put that work in. You didn't have to do the BDR side here. And here you are doing the consulting.
I would much rather do the accounting stuff than the BDR stuff.
Yeah.
It sucks.
There was one day where I put on the headset for 15 minutes and was trying to rip cold calls and nobody answered. I think my heart rate spiked at like $150. Like it was the equivalent of running 5 miles. It was terrifying.
Well, and then somebody does answer, and you're like, oh shit, what am I supposed to say?
Software.
Did you ever have to do like confirmations and stuff as an auditor ever? Internal audit or anything like that? I had to do confirmations and it was the worst. I was I got a taste for cold calling and you're an external auditor, so people freaking hate you. You're like their worst nightmare to be on a phone call with. So when you call, I'm like, hey, can you just, confirm that this number is correct? Hang up immediately.
Oh,
okay, I'll try again tomorrow.
I had a lot of
I'll
people
call you tomorrow
ignore
because this is sort of my job for the week. So I'll call you back tomorrow.
Well, luckily I went to a lot of like client sites, so I would physically hunt people down. I was a headhunter. And I would go find people in the office to be like, hey, take a look. Is this right? Like,
we had that too, but then I had to go call like financial institutions and get confirmations for that. That is the worst.
Yeah.
And I have a list of who to call, and they're like, this number's discontinued. Like, Cole, we're going to keep searching that.
We're just going to say yes.
Well, I feel like that's only gotten harder too, because like somebody calls me now, you know what I do? I don't answer it. If you know me, you'll text me.
Right.
Send me an email.
Leave a voicemail if it's important.
It's actually got to the point too where whatever the cold calling platforms are that are out there, it'll mimic not only the area code, but it's moved into mimicking like the caller ID. Like it said like Nationwide Children's Hospital. I live in Columbus, Ohio. A call from Nationwide Children's Hospital. I'm like, well, that's a real local thing. I have 4 children. Right. I should probably answer this. And I pick it up. It's like, bloop.
Yeah.
And I answer going, hello, this is Michael. And they go, is Michael there? I'm like, I just said this. Okay, cold call.
You got me.
So they got me with Ohio Health. Yep. They got me with Ohio State University. Like
the
Ohio State University. But it's one of those things where like I struggle to pick up the phone.
Yeah.
And so that's the other side of it too. Like finding new ways to reach people where they work with messages that are meaningful and don't seem like pesky. And I get them all the time. I'm the first to like delete spam.
I once got a cold
I
call
give it a
from my
quick
own
glance,
phone
but-
number.
What?
I like looked down at it. I'm like, oh, it's me.
It's interesting.
And then
You got to answer that.
Bill
I
and
did.
Ted, through and through. Or now it's like, I have to tell you about the future.
Oh my gosh.
That's so good. Back to the Future. It could have been you.
It could have been me.
Could have been you.
You got to answer that call next time.
I
it
don't
comes
trust
through.
myself enough.
Have you ever owned a DeLorean?
I think I am going to own a DeLorean later on.
I could see that.
Yeah.
We're going to be at Bear Jackson next week.
That's true. Maybe they're gonna have a
Keep our
DeLorean
eyes
there.
peeled,
Yeah. Okay.
So look, this has been a fun conversation. Well, let's close it out this way. What are you most excited about when you think about you've made a big transition through a couple of roles? You've been a huge part of how we've rolled out this Transform, this AI platform. What are you most excited about as we head into fiscal 26 strictly from a product or a customer engagement perspective?
Yeah. So to start the year, it's all about adoption. So last year we were selling it, kind of getting it to market. I'm really excited to see what people can build. We've built something that we can get in a customer's hands now, and I'm kind of excited to see what they just run with. So that'll be the start of this year, focused on that. Q1, Q2. But what I'm excited to see by the end of this year is how we built Transform sort of on its own island, per se. Just kind of keep closed, doing what it's doing, let you guys sell that. Let's build something on the side and see what's possible, right? Because 2 years ago, there was nothing.
Yep.
We had nothing. We had to figure out what clients want, how it works, what auditability we need around it. By the end of this year, I'm excited to see how it plugs into the rest of the application and
Like
how
how it
improves
integrates.
everything else. What can we do in matching where Transform agents plus matching, what does that look like? What does reporting look like with that? How do we take recs, plug it into the agents and have agents completely controlling everything going on in your checklist and recs? I want to see where we go with that this year. So what do clients build to start, but then what can we do to just one giant FloQast ecosystem?
I want to see
AI
that in a
embedded?
deployed environment where a checklist item is automated by a Transform agent. You click to start it. It gathers the data.
No, not even,
I don't
you
even
have
want to click to start
It's
it.
the due date. The second the due date's
What?
due, it
Agent
runs on
runs,
its own.
Right, I'm already behind.
Yeah.
Like, it's crazy how much.
Hands off.
Go sketch
I-
something
somebody
out in
gets-
paint.
Yeah.
I just want you to get a Slack message that says every reconciliation is done.
Hey,
every
this is ready
checklist
for
is
review.
Go.
Yeah, human in the loop. Put your eyes on it. Cool.
Yeah.
We're clear.
Approved.
Your close is
Journal-
done.
Yeah.
You're going
Yeah.
to jail.
Journal entries are ready.
Everything's wrong.
Yeah.
Journal entries are ready. Work papers here that supports it. Make sure everything looks good.
How does this
Start,
look?
Sign off on
I mean, I
stuff
love
for
the
me.
idea of that. I do. And look, everybody's policy is different in the ways that, but like I want to see, and it's my favorite part always is like, I deal with customers a lot on the front end. When you get to the back end and things have been deployed, getting that message, getting that phone call of like, check out what we've done. We're so happy. Thanks for working. Like I love a happy customer.
Yeah, it's awesome.
It's awesome.
Billy,
that
and-
was one of the cool things from an ATC. Like they were
They're
like 2
happy.
months in, they're pumped.
Yeah.
Like this saved us so much time. You're like, nice.
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 Yeah.
I did that.
Yeah.
Billy, in your opinion, because this is something I've heard you say on calls before, you're like, so other solutions will try and sell you the myth of a one-click close, like that'll never happen. Do you think a one-click close is actually possible in 3 years, 5 years?
One click? No, it's going to take a few more clicks, but like one click to get everything prepared. I can see that happening. If I can just hit refresh and like that, like maybe that's the trigger. You go hit refresh and now or kick off, begin. I'm ready, begin. Everything's where it's supposed to be, begin. It does everything it's supposed to
Customize
do,
the
but
button
like
to say what you want.
you still got to go approve.
I mean,
right?
well, I
Like,
mean, yeah,
I still got to.
You could call that a one click because look, like you ask somebody in APAR what the close is versus somebody in central accounting versus somebody in FP&A versus somebody in reporting. Like
Yep.
they all call the close a different thing.
That's fair. That's fair.
So
Yeah.
maybe it's this portion of the globe.
Yeah. I mean, there's going to be a few more clicks involved. You may not be doing all of the prep work, but like you got to review it.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, you still got to review it. You still got to go through stuff. We shouldn't just be sending random journal entries into your ERP without you knowing about
We're
it.
not regulating less
You
either.
should-
I've never
right.
seen regulation
Oh, no,
decrease.
it's coming in
so
never
more
will.
and
Yeah.
more. So less clicks,
Okay.
way less clicks.
One click close is better for marketing though. Like a 48 click close is not going to do well on a billboard.
That's fair. Yeah, not the right clickbait you're looking for.
Heyo.
Hey, nailed it.
This
And on
guy.
that note,
Wow.
thanks for joining us. This was fun.
Yes, thanks
Good
for
chatting
having
with you.
us.